one of the reasons why sports give me headaches. Yesterday, the Lakers did like their postseason press availability. Now, yesterday on this show, we talked about providing grace to JJ Redick, which I still believe we should do. It's his first year coaching in the NBA. And really, there's no worse place to start off your coaching career than, I guess it's a gift and a curse, right? Because you've got like all these assets and all these tools, but now you're in LA and you're coaching LeBron and you're coaching Luka. You're not coaching the Memphis Grizzlies for your first year as an NBA coach. And everybody's like, oh, look at JJ. He's doing a hell of a job. No, it's like you're coaching the Lakers. You're expected to win championships. Every major superstar that has worn the purple and gold of the Lakers has won a championship. That's a fact. You can look it up. I mean, from Kareem to Elgin Baylor to Jerry West to Luka Doncic now. It's happened for Jerry West. It didn't happen against the Celtics, which people talk about. But, it happens. Everybody finds a way to win a championship. So Luka eventually you think will get there, but, he's going to have to get there right now, it looks like, with JJ Redick. And JJ is like wired so tight. And they talked about, Brian Windhorst talked about it a ton. Just like you could tell, like his energy was really tight. Reggie Miller mentioned it before the game. We saw JJ flip out on a reporter who asked about the rotation and whether JJ was leaning on his assistants. So he's just like, it's probably not like the smooth, like Phil Jackson type Zen approach that superstars are looking for in a game like that. LeBron even said, JJ, the quote is great, JJ will spaz out. Like, it's cool, you can spaz once in a while, but you can't spaz all the time. And, like, that's the vibe I got from JJ Redick, just being, like, very coaching the Lakers. And look, this is on-the-job stuff. We're watching JJ Redick maybe become an amazing coach. Maybe we'll become one of those guys who coaches for a year or two and says, this isn't for me. And we see that too. We saw it with Magic Johnson. Not quite the same, but you do see former players take over and they're like, no, JJ could very easily go back to TV. But everything about the guy is in it. And this is like, we're talking about sports headaches and stuff that drives you crazy in the world of sports. So this is driving me crazy today. Yesterday after the game, Redick's talking to the media, and he talks about, we've got to be in championship shape. And being in championship shape, because he played those guys, he totally mismanaged their rotation. You can't play, you played 40-year-old LeBron James, like you played him the entire second half in that one game. You were so pissed about people questioning you about it. In Game 6, everyone is speculating that you passed on playing Jackson Hayes, which there's a ton of stuff about these teams and that goes on behind the scenes that we don't know. Maybe Jackson Hayes did something that really pissed JJ off, and rightfully he's being held out of the rotation. But all I saw watching 2 nights ago was Max Kleber come into a game where he hadn't even practiced with the Lakers, right? He was part of that trade that got the Lakers Luka. And, coming over from the Mavs here in DFW and in Texas, I was like, whoa, Max Kleber's in the game. And he was playing huge minutes, right? So all this kind of goes back to the rotation, maybe guys not being in championship shape. I can promise you LeBron is in as good a shape as he'll be at 40 years old. Right. So like you could throw him out of that. So you can only look to Luka, right? Who, as we all, I think, can agree on, was a bit of like a traffic cone defensively and has always been, but was even more so this series. And look, we know the deal with Luka, right? He comes to camp out of shape. He gets into shape over the first 6 weeks of the season. Usually by January, he's boom, 100% doing his thing. And we saw last year, he still is a liability on defense. That is what it is. Could he be in better shape? Sure. But he was certainly in good enough shape last year to do his part to get the Mavs to the finals and have them on a brink of a championship. By the way, running into a Celtics team that everybody, hands down now, has winning the title again. 6-1 favorites in the Eastern Conference semifinals against a game New York Knicks team. This Celtics team is great. So that's what Luka ran into last year. This year, he had that calf injury, if you remember, before the trade in December, where not only was it like you're out for a month, it was like we're going to reevaluate you for a month. This isn't like Joel Embiid load management stuff type with Luka. When he misses games, he's missed, I think, over the course of his game, over his career, I looked it up, 87 regular season games out of, I think, a possible 462. I mean, if you do the math, that's like he's played 85 to 87% of his games, which is pretty damn good for a star in today's day and age in basketball. And most of the time when Luka doesn't play, it's because of an injury. It's not because he thinks he needs a break, right? So this is a guy who is all in on the basketball side, and he's not like Anthony Davis, right? Street clothes. He's not like Joel Embiid, like load management, I need time off. And he's not in the phase of his career where he's like LeBron, where he just needs a blow because he's old, right? He's not any of those things. He's a guy that's young, that likes to drink beer and likes to smoke whatever the hell he likes to smoke. And he's one of the best goddamn basketball players on the planet. So my frustration now, and again, I'm not a coach, I'm not a GM. I know enough to know that I don't know, okay? But what I do know as somebody sitting down, watching all of this unfold in front of me, and maybe I need to stop reading and stop listening to pundits, but again, that would mean I'm not doing my job. But there's frustration around oh yeah, over there, it's Luka. He's not in shape. Oh, we're going to trade Luka. We're not going to give him the Supermax because, look, we don't want to make this commitment because he's not in shape, or we don't want to make the investment. The guy is elite, and he's one of the best players we've ever seen, okay? He averaged 30 points a game in this playoff series. 30 points, right? And he was sick, apparently, during one of the games. And and he doesn't say this, we hear this. It's not him making excuses. Apparently his back flared up in the loss. And maybe that has to do with not being in perfect shape. I get it, right? He is not the ideal fitness guru that you love to have on your team, right? He's not watching what he eats. He's a young dude. He drinks his beer, right? He smokes whatever he smokes, like I said. This has been going on since the beginning of time with superstars. I don't know why we are so inclined to point at this guy all the time and say, oh, him over there. He's not in shape. That's the problem. Forget about the fact that the Lakers have no big men and their coach was in way over his head during this series, okay? And forget about the fact that before the Lakers traded for Luka Doncic, they were an afterthought in the Western Conference. Good luck in the play-in game, right? Good luck getting to the play-in game. So I'm just all stocked up with the nonsense that the problem here is that this guy isn't in shape. Like, ain't happening. Now, will he always be a liability on defense? Yes. Okay? And by the way, I make the Luther Vandross combination, and forgive me for this because I am an idiot, but let me just tell you this. When Luther Vandross got in great shape, he wasn't Luther Vandross anymore, okay? Just remember that. There's probably something to Luka's body being the way it is, right? To some of the success he has on the basketball court. Like his ability to get off shots in traffic, using his body to make passes, to hold defenders at bay. That's all a part of it, right? And this is a positive sweeping generalization, but that's part of the European style of play as well. So everybody involved, right? Especially fans of the Lakers. I know it's not a problem with fans of Luka Doncic, but like, let's just get over this. The guy is amazing. He's amazing. And like JJ Redick, again, it's really not, I don't want to be like, oh, let's point blame here. Like everybody's got a little blame to go around. Look, there's a lot of people that are going after JJ Redick more so than Luka. And I'm not saying everybody shares the opinion that I'm talking about, but I hear about it all the time. And, you know, the smear campaign that the Mavs put together after they traded Luka was what it was. And overall, it made them look foolish. I'm not going to be a part of the folks covering this and watching this that have some kind of platform to get in on that act. I think it's lazy. I think it's wrong. And I think it's ignorant. Like we're in a day and age where if you have a superstar, pay the goddamn guy. Pay him, keep him a part of your organization, right? And you've got to trust, yeah, you got to light a fire under his ass. You got to give him some crap. And like, you've got people in your organization who are going to needle him and try to make him do better. But the public just how we go public talking about this guy, and I see it on First Take, and I see it on Inside the NBA, and of course, we saw it coming out of the Mavs front office, like ad nauseum, in the wake of the trade. And we always hear it get very loud after a loss. And I get that, right? But let's not overlook that the guy has played 85% of his games since entering the league. So he's about ball, okay? He actually does really get injured, like we saw this year. Again, that injury, we can't evaluate him in a month. And he was back as soon as he could have possibly been back, especially now with the chip on his shoulder. But he actually wasn't the same guy fitness-wise in this year's postseason that he was last year because of all the time he missed because of that injury, right? So a little bit of grace, maybe a little bit of grace. And here's what I'd like to do, okay? Because it's not like he's a prick either, right? Let's appreciate Luka Doncic for who he is, an amazing basketball talent who I can't wait. And I'm not saying like there aren't other people who are on the same side of the street that I'm on, but I really because of more of this stuff, I just can't wait till the guy is on the podium after winning a championship and telling everybody to kiss his ass. I don't care where he's playing. He could be playing in Memphis or Philly or with the Lakers now. But that's one thing that I wanted to share today because there's just a frustration about. I feel like it's become just a lazy take. Scotty, anything from you? I'm out of gas here. I need a breather.
Yes and amen, Reverend Sousa.
But do you really agree?
Every word.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 1,000%. Every word. Yeah. I've got nothing to add except that I agree with everything you just said.
And I do go back. One more thing I'll say, and I think it's a problem with modern basketball. We have too many people justifying jobs. In NBA front offices, even in college basketball, whatever. There's too many people up your ass about nutrition, fitness, how you're taking care of your body. That stuff is very important. And the best players in the world take care of their bodies. I'm going to say this, Luka is on his own journey. like he really is. And he's still a young guy. How old is he? Let's get the official age.
26, isn't he?
26. So he needs to.
I'm going to double check, but I think so.
He needs to get it together soon, right? If
he's 26.
If he's going to be an elite physical fitness guy. I understand that.
But here's what's so crazy, Pete, is the part of the issue with the Mavs is he had his own team helping him stay in shape, and the Mavs were pissed about it. Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah.
They fired all the people that he was actually listening to and reporting to and working out with.
Yeah. They fired Casey.
Which, by the way, LeBron James and Tom Brady, that's how they're in such great shape into their 40s, is they have their own people.
Yeah, well, the Mavs saw those people as enablers. But
again, enabling a guy to take you to the finals. I guess it's a problem.
Yeah, I do think that there's too many guys, too many cooks in the kitchen that can be like, I checked his calorie count from yesterday and it was over. He didn't show up to weigh in. He left this workout early. It's like, can we just get back to playing basketball? I get it. We're in this new age and we're well into it. We might even be swinging the other way with the pendulum, but the analytics and I get it. I mean, we look close to home. Baylor's actually using a money ball approach to build their team now, which is pretty cool. The basketball team. I mean, you could say that.
Can I bring up a hypocrisy?
Yeah.
With this whole situation, who else notoriously has said in interviews even this year, I never was in shape? Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
Difference is Shaq was 7'1", 7'2", so still a defensive presence because he could just clog the lane. Luka's obviously not that. But there have been other superstars that play out of shape legitimately, that show up however, Bear the Truth is still pinging me about Michael Jordan, even though we're talking about Luka now. And Michael Jordan was smoking cigars
dude, Craig Hodges told a story on the All the Smoke podcast, okay? And he said there was a game, and I forget the opponent, but MJ was always bringing it, whatever, and he was MJ. But they finished shoot around, and it's early afternoon, and MJ's in his sweats and stuff. And so obviously it's when Craig Hodges was on the team, so it's earlier in the 90s. And my MJ's drop me off here at a bar. This is Craig Hodges told this story. So if he's lying, Craig Hodges is lying, but it seemed believable, and nobody has rebuffed since. or push back on his story. He said that MJ got out, said, I want to go to this bar and drink some beers, drank a bunch of beers. They picked him up on the way to the game, and it was a really bad team. I think that's why MJ was making a point. Like, hey man, he's like, I'm seeing 3 baskets, but I'm shooting at the one in the middle. And apparently they were up 30 in the first half, and MJ sat the rest of the game. But his message was like, you can't beat these guys without me. You suck. Now that's like a little window, into MJ. And then, by the way, MJ was born in 1963. Okay, the Bulls won their first title in 1990. He was 27, right? Like, so, and only did he get better from there as far as refining his body and finding that sweet spot that would work for him. The thing about Luka is, like, we have 6 years of a body of work of this guy producing massive numbers and winning a ton of games.
In the postseason specifically.
Yeah, so it's like, it's not like we're banking on an unknown. Like, right. What people are banking on, the Mavericks specifically, and I hate to get all down this again, but they're banking on an unknown. They're banking on Luka to totally flame out. They're shorting the stock, which is their business. But allow me to push back and say I'm banking on what I'm seeing right now is this dude's amazing. And he sucks at defense, but figure it out, dude. Yeah. If you're JJ Redick, if you're an organization, get somebody behind his ass. Figure out how you should have gotten Mark Williams last year. Yep. Get a big this year that can cover for him and block shots when guys beat him to the basket. Like, or do what you guys do as basketball savants and figure all that out. That's not my job. But I'm sick of hearing bitching from front offices and coaching staffs about Luka being in shape and all that stuff. Like, you guys are justifying your jobs. And really, general managers, we see it all the time. These guys make trades that will keep them employed, just like we saw Nico do with the Dumont ownership group that Randy Galloway was on here yesterday calling them boneheads. Yep. So that's a legend. Forget me for a second. Let's get somebody with some real gravitas like Randy Galloway saying the same exact thing about the ownership group. And so these GMs, a lot of times they don't know what they're doing either. I sound like Mel Kiper, so I'm gonna stop.
Well, I want to push back against the new commenter real quick, and then Nick will be ready to go, so we'll take a break. But want to welcome. I don't think Tice Summerall's ever commented with us. Thanks, welcome to the Pete Souza family. Tice, he said bootleg James Harden, and I just want to point out a really pivotal difference.
Tice, welcome.
Tice, welcome. I'm going to push back against you a little bit. 1, Luka is the second best scorer in the playoffs in NBA history behind only Michael Jordan. James Harden is not that. 2, Luka consistently elevates in the playoffs, and James Harden has a 10-year body of work that says he shrinks in the playoffs. So I understand the comparison as, well, a really talented offensive player who doesn't play defense. The difference is Luka elevates in the playoffs and consistently wins games in the clutch. James Harden does not.
To your point, my friend. To your point, my friend. The Clippers win last night, which we don't have time to get to it now before Nick. Their win last night was James Harden's first win in an elimination game in 5 years. In 5 years in the playoffs since 2020. So what a stat. You have that right there.